Right, Sean, the one Klopp, one flop. Who's the Klopp? Who's the flop?
So for the Klopp this week, there's a few big contenders that I've been considering. First of all, were Man United. I thought they were brilliant, finally getting 4-0, and maybe they deserve some recognition for that. But I stay away from them. Then next, I thought
it's got to be Aguero, right?
Yeah, well,
it's got to be. Sean, family.
Recovering from a 9-0 defeat to then go and win 2-1 away from home. I thought Southampton as well. They've been great the last couple of weeks. Solid. It wasn't just a 2-1 victory. It was also a pretty convincing and a lot of shots on goal.
Revenge.
So they could have been, and then also it could have been yours truly with the 86 points and that shot of Aguero.
It's got to be you, mate. You're 50 points.
I
think we collectively.
It has to be Aguero. I almost text you guys when Aguero was he had only scored 2, and I was about to text you saying, someone tell Aguero that if he scores another, he'll get the Klopp of the week. And I said that to myself, and I'm sure that's what made him score the third. So
nice,
Sergio, thank you.
You again.
Record.
You're definitely the Klopp.
2 records he broke this week, wasn't it? Most goals in the Premiership by a foreign player, overtaking Thierry Henry. I believe it's 177 goals he scored there.
Yeah, and we all know if Ronaldo had stuck around, he would never have.
And the most hat-tricks in the Premier League, so that's him. The flop, on the other hand, is a little bit more difficult, but I think it's just going to have to be Leicester. They've fallen apart. Although I say how good Southampton were, where were Leicester? Did they turn up? There's so many people. In fact, it's everyone that relied on Vardy. If you had Vardy as captain, shame on you. You're the flop of the week.
Shame on you, fellas.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Don't worry.
Shame on you, fellas. We're going to...
And you, Vieira.
Terrible weekend.
That's my flop. All of you listeners with
guys,
Vardy.
we're off to the break. We're going to go and shame Ricky Pellegrini. We've got some baseball bats to beat him. We shall see you in part 2.
Way!
Welcome to part 2 of Left Back in the Changing Room.
Way! Captain's here!
Evening, gents. Evening. How are you?
We're good.
All good?
And we're glad that you've taken the time to stay in LA this week and make sure you were there for our nomination of one of the Oscars. You were at the announcement this morning, yes?
Oh, indeed.
How did we get on, Captain?
We kind of fell below par, I think, and but it's always next year.
What?
I think.
What? Our 65 listeners aren't voting for us.
Global,
Guys. Otherwise, there'll be a point
more
deduction.
like globals, I think, at the moment, unfortunately. But there you go.
There we go. Thanks, Captain Russell. Always lovely to have you, bringing some positive energy to the table. Captain, what happened last week? You dropped further from the top. You're 50 points behind Sean, sitting in second still. You're still in
Seriously,
second.
50 points. That's
59,
wow.
I think.
He says
59.
it like he doesn't know. He knows, man. He's been up all night, scratching his head.
Am I still second?
You are still second.
Sorry,
What's going on,
okay.
mate? What's going on?
49.
Alright, basically, it all stems down to like that Christmas period where I kind of.
Oh, we've heard about that. What happened last week?
One too many WKDs.
I don't know. I tried to get rid of my Manchester United players, which I did, which I thought was a good idea, until I found out Martial actually scored. So that was I've lost 8 points there. I still have not really got it back since I lost Ings as well. Like as soon as I got rid of him,
you got rid of him?
Yeah, I know. I stupidly got rid of him and bought in Jimenez, and he hasn't scored anything
Wolves
yet.
players, mate. Wolves players have just not delivered the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know, totally. Ever since I bought them, so there must be something on the cards there. So I've now got an injured goalkeeper and 2 Wolves players, but I did get rid of all my Tottenham players.
Yeah, I saw you made 3
so,
substitutes this week. You got rid of Martial, Aurier and Gazzaniga, bringing in Cantwell, Robertson and Fabianski.
Did you take a hit, Captain? You took a hit?
I did indeed, yeah. Even though I had 2 transfers, I got greedy and did 3 instead. Which was the last transfer I did was Fabianski, and obviously he was only on for just over 10 minutes.
I know why you did that though, because did you have Pope in goal before that?
I've still got Pope. I did the keeper I did get rid of was the Spurs keeper. As I said, I got rid of all my Spurs players.
I see.
Yeah, and he's got flaccid hands, so I just didn't have any opportunity to keep him.
You've copied Sean and John McGinn fanboy, but a week too late, mate.
Is that what's happening? It looks, but yeah,
your team resembles nothing like mine.
I'm not
class.
What's
that, lads?
There's a
Oh, it's the bat phone.
To Rambolino. We've got a rambling from the dugout, viewers.
Who is it? Hello?
Hello,
This
who's
is
that?
Gareth from Wales.
Gareth.
Gareth, welcome, Gareth.
Hello, gents.
How are you, mate?
Great, thanks. I got a question for you.
Go on then, fire ahead.
Well, so do you want to give away your second wild card? And I'm not sure when to do it. I don't know whether it's worth doing it like early on in the second half of the season or using it for before the double game week. Man.
Gareth, are you Welsh or Jamaican, bro? Excellent
Fantastic question.
Excellent question. So just to recap there, listeners, Gareth has asked, when is the best time to use this second wild card? So you get a new wild card after Christmas?
Yeah.
Should you be using
Santa
it?
brings you, I believe.
He does, honestly.
He does. He poops it out of his butt. And, or is that
I think that was Rudolph,
Or is that
mate, and
Rudolph?
Santa picked it up. That's how all presents get.
I'd like to kick off proceedings and say, we've got the upcoming double game week with Liverpool, right? And I think a lot of people will be looking at that to use the double wild card, the second wild card to get in more Liverpool players. Because if you haven't got more Liverpool players in, you might suffer from that double game week if Liverpool dominate those two games. They've got Wolves, they've got West Ham United. They're both away games, both away fixtures. Not going to be easy games at Molineux and, at London Stadium, but they did draw their 1-1 last season.
So would you say right now is the time to use the wild card? Or next week?
I say why not? And don't forget, a lot of people, because they have been waiting till after the Christmas period to reshuffle their team without, taking too many hits in the transfer market and taking that 4-point minus deduction. I think now will be the time a lot of people will be using. Is it the right time to use it?
That's the question.
Is it the right time to use it? I think why not? Yes, I think because you want to plan your strategy for the second half of the season. I think the patterns have already been set, and I think we know who's in the Champions League. We know who's going to be progressing to the FA Cup as well.
Yeah.
I think why not?
The Liverpool games as well, that double game week, they're far enough apart. They are 6 days apart. Do you worry that Liverpool might rest players, or do you think they'll play the same
I don't think they
team?
will. I don't think as we get further along, I think they will rest more players, right? Because we're going to start kicking off the Champions League, and that's where it does become more difficult to predict. Whereas this next double game week is quite a rarity because there is literally, apart from the FA Cup, there's really not much else going on. So I think Liverpool will play a strong side in both those games.
So do you think, Russ, go to you quickly on this. Ricky's saying use it now. A question that comes to mind for me is, if you use it now before everyone else in the league has used it in the league, is there a disadvantage to being the first person to use it?
Didn't Sean use his early on? Did he not use his early on?
He's not used his second wild card.
I used my first one earlier on. Yeah, if your team's struggling and you need to get players in, use it. What are you holding on to it for? You're just wasting time.
Are you at a disadvantage if everyone else now knows what you've done? Because then they can do the same but get better players when your players are not performing anymore.
Mate, to be honest, it doesn't matter what you do. I'm not going to copy you looking at your performance.
Ouch!
The fire coming off this man. He's put Aguero in, he's captain in, and his bollocks are swinging left and right. See what he's doing. He can't even get through the door.
And
Big donker.
Had to get a new pair of trousers this morning.
put them away. Teabagging everyone, my goodness.
I just hope my balls will drop next.
Okay, so we don't. So you don't think there's a disadvantage to using it before anyone else in the league? You might have an advantage if you get.
To me, this double game week is quite early though. I think we've got another one that will be coming up. The winners of the EFL Cup semi-finals, Man United again. Might not have to worry about that. But you've got Man City in there. Then you've got Aston Villa or Leicester who will also be in there. So that will be another game week which will happen the first week of March. Double game week, people also think about your bench boost. They also think about your triple captain. For me, the best use on a double game week, especially this one coming up, maybe your free hit. Use that, get it done with. As we get to the last 6 games of the season or so, you're going to have players picking up injuries. Things are going to get tight. It's going to get scrappy. You're going to know what teams are really playing for stuff and what teams are playing for nothing.
Yeah.
But even then, you're kind of best in a way mid of the table teams. You want to go more lower and up.
I mean, the thing is,
I'm going to save mine.
Often you're going to save it to what?
point,
near the end. So
near the end, yes.
I think the last quarter of the season, personally, is what I would be looking at. But your free hit, what you mentioned with your free hit, there is a game week where there's usually only 8 teams that play, and a lot of people use the free hit there. Now, I don't think that is worth it or a good strategy, because you are best to save your free hit to me, in my opinion, when it is a double game week, more teams, more chance of points. You just got to, for the free hit, for the game week where there's going to be 8 teams playing, or whatever it is, you've got to just make sure that you're planning ahead for that. Patrick Vieira, quickly go to you, just round it out. When do you think you'll be looking to use your second wildcard, being at the bottom of the table, as I am, obviously 2 above you?
I used mine fairly early on, beginning of last season, but I think I'm going to hold on to it.
The first half of the season?
Yeah, first half of the season.
The second half of the season, you're going to hold yours?
Yeah, I'm more on the...
You've got a pretty good team, to be fair.
Yeah, it depends if you need the players. Like, it depends what your squad's like.
So what's kind of your reason to keep it? Because you think your squad's good at the moment?
I think my squad's good enough to hold on. And if I was going to do something, I'd be more inclined to do the free hit, I think.
Yeah.
And get a load of, as many top of the table players in, and get as many points out of the double game week that week.
Okay, so what we're really saying, Gareth, is there's no real time to use it. Perhaps using it right now ahead of the 2 games coming up for Liverpool's double game week isn't necessarily the best idea. I think the majority of us around this table think save it for perhaps the last 10 games of the season. Give yourself a nice final run in. So that's our advice, Gareth.
Oh, thank you very much, chaps. The only problem I was having was the fact that I haven't got Aguero on my side now, and it seems to be like making a big difference point-wise. So I was thinking maybe I should get rid of some of my, basically reshuffle my players in order to get Aguero in, because I think my performance at the moment is pretty poor. Yeah,
that's a good point. The thing I've got to think with Aguero, right, he's only had 1 strong week, and I wouldn't be changing my whole team around just so I could get Aguero in. I feel that you're better off trying to... Have you got a big player that you could drop, say a Maddison or someone like that you reckon you could get more value from a Traore or someone that's a little bit less to then be able to afford Aguero?
It creeps in your mind, just to round off that point, it creeps in your mind if you don't go with Aguero this weekend, right? And he does it again at home against Crystal Palace. That's what's always going to play in everyone's minds as FPL managers. That's the decision you have to make. Do you just accept that you lost those points last weekend and move on, concentrate on the rest of your team, or do you go, okay, he's in form, he's going to carry that?
But looking at them playing Crystal Palace, I think that's a tasty fixture for City, and that's something that I would maybe keep back in Aguero here. There'll be a lot of people that do influx onto him. People will jump on the bandwagon.
He's the most transferred player in.
Yeah, and that will only increase as the week goes on, when you'll guarantee that he finishes in that place. They've got Crystal Palace coming up, then they've got Sheffield United, who will not concede as many goals, and we know that they won't.
Correct.
But here, I think it's a real opportunity for him to progress, Aguero, and get another couple of goals under his belt. But, looking at the City team, it's just, there's a lot of class there. Jesus and then Mahrez would be brilliant. But if you can Mahrez reliably play, then I'd go ahead.
Play in front of Baby Raheem?
Well, actually, if you're looking at what has been done this season already, Sterling's on 110 point, Mahrez is only just behind him on 106, and actually ahead of Aguero, who's only on 102. So, and Mahrez being there so much cheaper, 8.5 million against Sterling at almost 12, and Aguero at almost 12.
Massive difference.
I would stay away from Sterling, and if you've got that, maybe you're going to get some money from having Mahrez over any of those two, and you can maybe afford a bit more depth there, so that at least if he's not playing, you've got someone reasonable who can step into the place, someone on your bench. So maybe it is a good deal there.
It's interesting because Crystal Palace still play well. I mean, but obviously they're much better at home, aren't they? But you can see Man City getting another big score now. They look back to their best.
Do you reckon Man City game week 23 are going to absolutely pummel Crystal Palace, who we know defend fairly well?
It's a tricky one because I think with Crystal Palace, again, going back to Roy Hodgson, he's proved it time and time again. They're hard to beat. They're no walkover.
They've also only let in 24 goals, less than Manchester United, less than Chelsea. It's not saying much less than Man United, but they've actually also let in less goals than Manchester City have.
Really?
Manchester City have let in 25 goals. Palace have let in 24. I know Palace are going to City, but they're gonna set themselves up to not concede. But then Man City can break through.
They will attack and attack and attack.
They're relentless,
and they're on form.
But then we also know that City are a bit dodgy at the back, and they will attack, but they will also concede. And maybe are you ready? Maybe he will keep on his just fine, bit of form.
Yeah.
83 points already this season. At 5 million for a forward, he could be the new Danny Wings.
Do you know who's coming back for City as well? Laporte is almost back.
Yeah.
Laporte.
Yeah, I heard that.
He's almost back in the team, so I think he could be. He's a massive player for Man City. I think once he comes back in that team,